ESPN Speed World coverage of the Barber Saab Pro Series is brought to you by Saab and your local Saab dealers, who invite you to test drive a car, not a compromise. By Quaker State, the Big Q is one tough motor oil. And by Busch Beer, the beer with a taste as smooth as its name. 24 cars are ready to take the green flag. We'll be back to introduce them and turn them loose when we return to Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course. Stay with us. Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course and the Barber Saab Pro Series. Here's the way our field lines up today. On the pole, points leader Rob Wilson. Next to California-based New Zealander Steve Cameron. Row 2, Walt Boren, a racing veteran, next to Brian Herta, who held the pole at Lamrock a week ago. Kelly Collins and Matt Christian on row 3. On 4, Mike Shank and Jim Pace from Jackson, Mississippi. On row 5, we'll have John Tanner from Virginia and Florida's Glenn Straub. Johnny Robinson, an Englishman who's won the only race not won by Wilson this year, will be on row 6 next to John Bingham. Briggs Phillips and Matt Blevins on row 7. Row 8, Bob Reid and Nick Kunewalder, an old Barber Saab Series veteran. Row 9, Eric Persum from right here in Ohio next to Mark Leisner. Row 10 will be Troy Shooter, great racing name that, next to Bret Hart. On row 11, Damon Ring, a Goodyear tire engineer from Akron, Ohio, next to Clarence Coring. Row 12 will be Tom Jaquette and Adam Eunice. Field lining up, heading onto the backstretch, and this is where the green flag comes here at Mid-Ohio. They don't take it on the start-finish line where the checkered flag will wave in about a half hour's time. The field forms up. With the bright day-glow wings is the pole sitter, Rob Wilson, winner of 4 of 5 races coming into Mid-Ohio. The green flag is out and we're racing. Sharp right-hander coming up, and look at the jockeying for position. 3 wide, they go into the corner. That doesn't often work, and it doesn't this time. We've got 3, 4, 5 spinning race cars. A couple of guys managed to get it straightened out and back on the racetrack, but a couple of cars are off and maybe stalled. There you see car number 4 and car number 20. Number 4 is Glenn Straub. Car 20, John Bingham. They started on rows 5 and 6. They are apparently out of the race, and Rob Wilson quickly opens up a gap. And now they close up again. Right behind him is Steve Cameron in the white car. Cameron gets a little bit sideways there, coming down the hill and onto the front straightaway.
Did you notice how he came into that turn very, very on the inside, nice and slow to get a good exit off onto that front straightaway, and then he opened up a nice gap going onto the front straightaway. That's the important thing to do going into that corner. It's not how fast you get into it, it's how fast you get out of it.
And we've got another man off and through the gravel trap and into the tire barrier hard. He'd get a look at his car number. It's number 50, Mark Leisner, making his Mid-Ohio debut. Leisner from Austin, Texas. And he has got a problem. End of lap 1, he went straight off the corner, and he'll climb out. That's too bad. Here's another look, Jack.
Yeah, it looks like he went to the outside and just got hung up out there in the loose stuff and slipped it off, got those wheels on the outside off, and you can see he's not on the brakes. He's trying to turn the car, and he's hoping it'll turn, but it just won't do it, and he got into the tires.
Meanwhile, out front, car number 19, Rob Wilson, sliding it through, kind of dirt tracking that car through the corners. Now, keep in mind, these cars are all identically prepared. The drivers cannot play with the drive lines, the engine management system, the transmission, and so forth, but they can change the aerodynamics, the tire pressures, and the suspension to customize these Barber Saab machines to their individual driving styles. Evidently, our leader likes his nice and loose, Jack.
Yeah, he looks like he's got his set up very aggressively. You know, he's got the back end coming. It looks like he comes in and points into the corner very well and then comes out with a little bit of oversteer. It's a little loose, which makes the car a little harder to drive, but it is the quick way around.
A little puff of smoke as he lifts and gets down into turn 1. This entire Mid-Ohio circuit has been revamped. The pit lane has been extended. Oh, and this is car number 50. It looks like Leisner is going to get back into it. He climbed out of his car after nosing it into the tire barrier, took a look around. I guess he decided it was safe to bring it back out on the racetrack.
Well, those tire barriers are nice.
Your leader is Rob Wilson from Brentford, England, who has won 4 out of 5 races coming in. Once again, here's Leisner limping around. And the car does look all right, Jack. There's no derangement of the front wheels, just the nose is gone.
Well, I'd be surprised if he didn't at least get the alignment out. I'm sure the front end has bent a little bit.
But Mark Leisner will carry on.
Oh, he can drive it that way. It just won't be as quick as he'd like it to be.
And as the field comes by, led by number 19, Rob Wilson, we have a car in the pits, and I believe Marty Reid is there.
Well, this is Matt Christian, who has brought his number 66 Barber Saab into the pits from Tulsa, Oklahoma. They are working on replacing a flat right rear tire, as he has just literally ground that one down to the ground. And they are waiting to break the lug nuts free, and of course this will ruin all his chances in this quick sprint race to finish up in the top 5.
Oh, that's a tough break for Matt Christian. As Marty pointed out, in a race as quick and short as this, you don't have much time to waste in the pits. In fact, any kind of a pit stop will hurt you. Sliding through the corner comes our race-long leader, Rob Wilson. And interesting to note that these identically prepared cars, Jack Baldwin, are also handled by the same group of mechanics, and they don't have the benefits of air hammers and things like that.
No, it seems like the garage is closed on race day, so you really can't expect any speedy service when you pull into the pits.
We should point out that each of these cars does have a crew chief. One of the Barber Saab Series mechanics is assigned several cars, so we know who to go to when we want to know what kind of a problem a driver is having. There you see Steve Cameron, a New Zealander now based in Sonoma, California. Right now he's got a lot of ground to make up on our leader, Rob Wilson of England. We'll return to Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course in a moment. Green and day-glow orange car of Rob Wilson has led our race from the get-go. You see dust being raised back there as some of these cars rocket through turn 1. There is Steve Cameron from Auckland, New Zealand, now driving in the Barber Saab Pro Series and joining a lot of foreign drivers that have been a part of this great racing series in the past couple of years. Down the back stretch they come. Reaching speeds of about 130 miles an hour, would you guess, Jack?
I would say 130, 35 miles an hour.
Whoops, someone else is off the racetrack now. This is down in turn 1 again, where we saw Mark Leisner go off early. Now Kelly Collins has come off the racetrack, and it looks like he's just looking for a place to park, Jack.
Yeah, it looks like his day's done for the, a little engine trouble or something.
Tough break for the driver from Corona Del Mar, California. Started 5th in the race, but he is definitely out of it at this point, and he begins the long walk back to the pits. And we've got another car off, car number 41. This is Adam Eunice from Miami, Florida. Boy, he's had a tough weekend. He qualified dead last in this field, 24th. Now it looks like something has gone amiss on his car as well. Now here's a good battle going on. This is Jim Pace in car number 11 up against the number 9 of Johnny Robinson. Nose to tail. Looks like we're going to have some outbraking here going down into turn 1, Jack.
Boy, that was a beautiful pass. He came up, he made the slingshot move to the inside, and look at these guys fight for it. I mean, this is some serious good racing right here. Wow.
Side by side, they go down. Oh, and they touch, and looks like Robinson will take the position, and car number 11, Jim Pace, has gone off, but he keeps his foot in it and gets back on. That's for 3rd place. Let's take another look at it, Jack.
Well, they come down there side by side, and Jim Pace now is on the outside going in. So Robinson moves over on him, puts a wheel in the grass, and he can't control it. That was some pretty good racing right there.
And so Johnny Robinson, winner at Road Atlanta in round 2 of the series this year, takes over 3rd place. The number 2 car of Brian Herta got by Jim Pace as well, so Pace puts himself now 5th. Now here is John Tanner, the highest-ranked American in the series, 4th in points behind Englishmen Wilson and Robinson and the New Zealander Cameron. You can see he has damaged the nose of that car. He has ripped off the wing on the left front corner, and that is going to pose him some pretty serious handling problems as the afternoon wears on. Let's get more from Marty.
Well, this is what's left of the left front wing on John Tanner's Barber Saab, and Ken Barnes is one of the crew members who helps take care of these things. How much of an effect does this have on performance on the car now overall?
Overall, it will have a great effect. We are fortunate that there are only a few left-hand turns here, but it will affect him. They are fast turns, and it's probably going to set him back quite a lot. Also, he came into the pits, and that right there in itself, these cars being so evenly matched, is hard to break up.
The kiss of death, coming in contact with anything out on the track.
Well, you can see the effect already as John Tanner kind of slung that car through a corner. That's where he's really got to be a handful now, Jack.
Well, when you lose the wing, you lose the front grip on the car, what makes the car push. So what he's doing to overcome that is he's getting the car into the corner and pitching the back end around to get the car to go around the corner. Otherwise, it would just push straight off the groove.
And he's driving that way because they have to. You got to look at Rob Wilson there, who's driving that way because he likes to. He's notorious for setting up his cars very loose, getting them very tail-happy, sliding them through the corners. And this is a guy with a lot of racing experience. He's driven Formula 3 in Europe. In fact, he's got a look now from the Life Formula 1 team using that incredibly radical W12 engine. They're having a little trouble finding a driver, and they're taking a close look at this Englishman, Rob Wilson. Now there is Tanner to the right of your screen, number 93, still making his way around. He dropped back to 15th at one point, but he appears to be moving up. He's presently running in the 12th position. Good battle here. And look at Walt Boren's blue car. He's lost the nose off of that one, Jack.
Well, he's really got a problem. So now he doesn't have either one of his wings up front or a nose piece. So it's a big aerodynamic disadvantage for Walt.
And he's got Clarence Coring in the 70 car right behind him, and then John Tanner.
You know, John, what he'll do is John Tanner's going to change his technique a little bit and get used to that understeer, that extra understeer that he's got, and, you know, adapt a little bit and make the best of it.
These guys are running in 9th, 10th, and 11th, and this is a battle for position. And Goring is the only guy really with a healthy race car. The guys in front and behind both have to drive very, very carefully because they're missing those all-important front ends. Now here comes Tanner underneath Coring. They may go 3 wide and a 1, but Coring backs out of it. Tanner will take the position, but Walt Boren gives him nothing.
Boy, that's some great racing. You know, see, because the track is much wider now, it allows for this type of thing. You know, before it was basically a one-groove track turn through there, but now, you know, they can go through 2 abreast. Makes for great racing.
John Tanner moves up into 10th place, getting by Walt Boren. As you saw, now Boren comes under attack from Coring, and it looks like Coring will get him before they get to the end of the back straightaway here at Mid-Ohio.
You see, without the front nose piece at all, Walt suffers a big disadvantage on the straightaway. He loses mile per hour, and that's one place he can't defend, so, you know, the guys can just drive by him. So each lap, it's tough when he gets to that straightaway. In the slower turns, it's not probably as bad as on the straightaway.
Here comes John Tanner. As I mentioned, highest-ranked American in points. Really would like to get a victory, but it doesn't look like it's going to happen today. But give him credit, he's driving well. Now here comes Walt Boren, who now has number 96, Troy Shooter, right on his tail. Boy, Walt is really having a tough day here at Mid-Ohio. Here's a guy who's been racing a long time. Jack, I know you've known Walt for a long time as well.
Yeah, Walt's a fine individual, a great competitor. I think he's an ex-IMSA champion also. And in fact, he's a chief instructor for Skip Barber. And it's nice to see Walt have an opportunity to get into series like this and compete a little bit and do some racing.
Now looks like Boren is going to give way down here in turn number 2. He realizes that he can't compete with some of these cars coming up behind him. Tucks in behind number 96, Troy Shooter.
What he needs to do now is hold real tight to the car in front of him and get that draft. He needs to use the car in front of him in lieu of that nose piece that's missing on his car. That's
Eric Persom in car number 38 at the back of that tail. Now Walt looks like maybe he has a notion to go underneath here. Yeah, looks like he's going to try a pass, but Persom comes around the outside in turn 3.
You see, he tried to make the draft on the inside. He tried to make the slingshot pass on the inside. The lead car moved over on him just a little bit. He couldn't make it stick, and so he went back to the back.
And so Walt Boren's problems continue here at Mid-Ohio. Meanwhile, here is the second-place car of New Zealander Steve Cameron, and suddenly he has got a big red machine in his mirrors. That's the number 9 of Johnny Robinson, already a winner this year. And look how close Robinson is getting to Cameron. As our leader Rob Wilson pulls away, we now have a battle for second developing here. The white car of New Zealander Cameron being chased by the red machine of Englishman Robinson. Plenty of action still to come your way as the Barber Saab Pro Series Round 6 continues from Mid-Ohio after this. Our course in Lexington, Ohio, in Round 6 of the Barber Saab Pro Series for 1990. There is Rob Wilson, the pole sitter and leader from the start of this race. Bob Varsha, Jack Baldwin, and Marty Reid with you here from Mid-Ohio. And Rob Wilson has absolutely taken this series by the throat this year. He is the leader in money, in points, in pole positions, and in victories. Steve Cameron getting very wide there over the hill turn. He is obviously a bit concerned, I think, Jack, with Johnny Robinson coming up behind.
Well, he's trying really, really hard right now. I mean, he's trying to catch the guy in front of him and keep the guy behind him, you know, off of him. But and sometimes by driving too hard, you know, you actually go slower.
There's a good look at the white car of Steve Cameron. Behind him, Johnny Robinson in 9, who came together with Jim Pace earlier in this race to take over third spot. And now he is right up on the gearbox of Cameron, bumping over the curves. And, oh, underneath looks Johnny Robinson, but Cameron holds him off that time.
Johnny's stalking him pretty well. It looks like we might see a pass here pretty soon.
Robinson drops well back now as you take a look at the running order at this point in this 30-minute sprint race. Down into turn 1 they go, and Robinson tries to pull it back together. Meanwhile, Brian Herta in the red number 2 car in 4th place begins to loom in Robinson's mirrors. can see Robinson has picked up a piece of track debris on the nose of his car. Right there, I would guess it's okay, Jack, but if he gets it into one of those side pod radiators, he could be in trouble.
Yeah, if it gets into the radiator, it's obviously going to overheat the motor a little bit and cause a little bit of loss of power.
These Barber Saab cars generate about 225 horsepower. They've been juiced up a little bit since last year, as you see the interval from first Wilson to second Cameron, third Robinson, and fourth place Brian Herta, who had the pole at Lime Rock just 6 days ago, but crashed out of that race. Tough break for Brian Herta, one of the Americans trying to make their way in a series that right now is being dominated by European drivers. Now here's some great racing. Nick Kunewalder in 5th place, and right behind him come Briggs Phillips and Bert Hart. Boy, give Hart some credit. He has come all the way from 20th in this field to battle for 5th place, along with Kunewalder and Phillips. Phillips started 13th, Kunewalder 16th. They come nose to tail, and you get a good look right there at one of the concrete patches, that light area on the racetrack that is laid in the corner to provide better traction, and it seems to work, Jack.
Yeah, the concrete patches are placed there for a couple of reasons. One is durability. It lets the it's a more durable surface, so you have a better racing surface, and if done right, you actually have more grip, which will mean faster lap times and better racing.
In fact, one of the track engineers before the race told me they put down that concrete because there's not a type of asphalt made that can stand up to modern day race cars, particularly on warm days such as we have here at Mid-Ohio, even though it is very windy. Good battle here for 5th place.
You know, with the kind of downforce that the modern race cars are making now, like you said about the asphalt, there is no asphalt made that will withstand the pounds of downforce generated by the new aerodynamics.
They literally rip the asphalt right out of the corners, and thus we have the concrete. Kunewalder with a great battle on hand there, twitching a little under braking. Nick is one of the series veterans. He's run a couple of years of Barber Saab Pro Series, as has our leader, Rob Wilson. In fact, we asked Wilson why he has come back for another year in Barber Saab.
Well, because I made this mistake 10 years ago. I started winning in Formula 3, and I had all sorts of offers to stay on in it the following year. And I thought, well, I've already won some races, and, you know, they can see that I can win. Why go through the whole thing again? And so I turned them down. And you go from being the flavor of the month to the point where you couldn't get a job as a window cleaner in the racing business about 6 months later. So this time I started winning, and I thought, well, I'll try and put a whole season together and try and win some more, because I really think you need to do lots of winning for someone to eventually take notice of you and pluck you out of the heap.
Well, Jack, as a professional race driver, I'm sure you could sympathize with what Rob Wilson is talking about, trying to get a job.
Oh, absolutely. It's a very tough business these days, and I guess it's always been a tough business, and winning helps.
And certainly Rob Wilson has done his share of winning. He is the leader in poles, in victories, in money earned this year. He now has a 51-point lead, having picked up 1 point today for winning the pole. Should he win the race, he'll pick up 20 points. There are 15 for second, 12 for third. But right now, all anybody has to concern themselves with in the Barber Saab Pro Series is trying to stop Rob Wilson. Should he be the points leader at season end, he will pick up a $100,000 career enhancement bonus from Barber Saab Series. And that will certainly help him in getting whatever kind of ride he wants to continue his career, I would think, Jack.
$100,000 certainly goes a long way in the right direction. I'll tell you, that's a nice little enhancement to have.
And as the laps dwindle down, this battle for 5th place continues. 27 is Nick Kunewalder, and he has been chased all afternoon by the 77 of Briggs Phillips and the 5 of Bert Hart, and they are still going at it as the checkered flag repaving. It can certainly be tough to get around somebody when they don't want you to. Final lap now for our leader, Rob Wilson. Quick check of his mirrors, as you can see there, down across the start line, which is distinct from the finish line here at Mid-Ohio, and into turn 1 once again.
You know, Rob Wilson, he has run hard all day, throwing that car around and just getting the absolute most out of the vehicle. I'm impressed with the way the man drives.
Here comes Wilson. You can see the shadows beginning to grow long. A little bit of glare on the rubber building up in the corners here at Mid-Ohio.
Boy, did you see him bring the car to that corner in a full drift, beautiful four-wheel drift?
And that's the way he's been driving it all afternoon, has Rob Wilson, who gets the right front corner up on the curb one last time and flashes down to the start-finish line. You see the gap back to the second-place car of Steve Cameron, and it looks as though Brian Herta has slipped past Johnny Robinson for third place. We'll be back to meet our winner in a moment. Barber Saab Pro Series from Mid-Ohio has been brought to you by Saab and your local Saab dealers, who invite you to test drive a car, not a compromise. By Quaker State, the Big Q is one tough motor oil. And by Busch Beer, the beer with a taste as smooth as its name. Now, it's been another dominating performance by Rob Wilson with a victory today. Makes it 5 out of 6 in the first half of the 1990 season, and his points total is an unprecedented 61 over second place Johnny Robinson, who in turn has a 4-point lead over Steve Cameron. We'll give you a look at all of the finishers in today's race, and now standing by in victory lane is Marty Reid with our winner, Rob Wilson.
Well, we talked about this right before the start of the race. We could have saved an awful lot of time if you'd have just taken the trophy like I suggested. Congratulations.
Thanks very, very much. It really isn't that easy. The car was fantastic, and really all I had to do was do it. But all the time you've got the eye on the mirror, thinking, is he closer, is he closer? Will I make an effort? It's still awkward, and I was still counting my blessings when I crossed the finish line.
Well, this is 5th victory for you this season. Are you starting to get phone calls from other people now?
Well, yes, they're all sort of interested in doing something next year. There's a few bits and pieces. There was that life thing in the Formula One thing, which happened a win or so ago. But that's just going to be some testing, and maybe. There are some people starting to take an interest, and I think I should really be looking towards America for 1991 to doing something, because America's been really good to me, and it's here that the interest is, probably at its highest. So that's what I want to try and do, something here.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Congratulations to Rob Wilson. The next round in the series will be from Watkins Glen, which will be seen also here on ESPN. For Marty Reid and Jack Baldwin, I'm Bob Varsha. So long from the Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course in Lexington, Ohio.